These are the 5 most profitable books I've ever read. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Spencer Vann. It's a pleasure to have you. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the 5 most profitable books I have ever read. I mean, I've read a lot of books, probably hundreds of books at this point. These are by far the most profitable books I've read for self-development and business. I made literally millions with the concepts just from these books. So I'm excited to share them with you today. But before I jump into it, make sure you like this video if you want to see more videos just like this. And of course, subscribe and hit the notification bell if you have not already. And let's jump right into the books. Book number 1 is one of my favorite books. It's PsychoCybernetics. Now, literally, I love this book so much. Everyone I work with, I talk to everyone, I basically make them read this book, okay? About a year ago, I made my whole team read this book. You guys know I coach basketball as well. I make my basketball team read this book. I made my business team read this book. And this book was originally recommended to me by the one and only Alex Becker. I had joined his mastermind. And he said, hey, I need you to read this book. And then I didn't read it. And he was like, why haven't you read it? And he kind of got mad. I was like, all right, I'll read the damn book. So I read it, changed my life absolutely. You know, the reason why I love this book is I've read a lot of different, Think and Grow Rich, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, a lot of self-development books that, they were good books, but they were a lot of wishy-washy, especially Think and Grow Rich. It's like, this energy and all this craziness. This is really cool because it's very scientific in its approach, and it's a completely different take on it, and I absolutely love it. So if you haven't read this book, seriously, this is the best book I've probably ever read out of these 5. It's my favorite one, and the last one's my other favorite one. The second book that I highly recommend is a book that I just reread. I originally read this back in 2019. It's called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink, and I love Jocko. I'm a huge fan of Jocko and Echo Charles. I listen to our podcast. I was listening to this morning as I was going over for my morning hike with David. I love this book because, first of all, the principle of extreme ownership. I believe so strongly in the principle of extreme ownership. I literally made it a core principle, core value of my company. I think if you don't take ownership in life, whether you're a leader or not, you can't really get ahead. And so that's just tried and true, and I just love the way it's so eloquently put as extreme ownership. I just think it's perfect. And then this just as a leadership book is amazing. We literally just had everyone on the team reread this book again last month, and a phenomenal book about leadership. A little bit self-development too, but overall I'd say it's more of a leadership book, but it's a great book nonetheless. Now, the next book is more of an advanced book. It's called Blitzscaling by Reid Hoffman, right here, Reid Hoffman. If you don't know who Reid Hoffman is, Reid Hoffman is was one of the founders actually of LinkedIn, okay? So he's a multi-billionaire, and he writes this book talking about how to scale specifically a software company, but there's obviously a lot of principles here just about scaling any business. And so I love this book. I've listened to this book on Audible several times. I've read it several times, and it's a phenomenal book. It is more advanced, so if you're newer to business, I probably wouldn't start with this book, but if you're someone that's already ran a business before or is pretty far into it, I would definitely give this book a listen because he talks about a lot of principles that most baseline business books are not talking about, that a lot of the Silicon Valley companies have used to scale exponentially. And so that's why I love this book. And Reid Hoffman, there's actually a little course on YouTube called Blitzscaling. He taught, I believe, at Stanford, and I listen to all those videos as well. They're absolutely amazing. So another great book there. This book right here, Patrick Bet-David. This is a book that came out, I believe, in 2020. It's very recent. Your Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet-David. If you don't know who Patrick Bet-David is, you might have seen him around before. He's got a YouTube channel like 1 million or 2 million subs, Valuetainment. And Patrick is a very, very successful entrepreneur and CEO. He's started an insurance company, which is probably worth $100, $200 million at this point. And the lessons that he teaches about being a leader and being a CEO and a business person in this book are absolutely amazing. He also talks a little bit about the mafia and power moves as well, which is kind of cool knowing that I've actually met Michael, and he talks about Michael in this book and some of the power moves that Michael did. So it's kind of interesting having that side of it too, so maybe it boosts up a little bit. But honestly, it's funny. I run a private mastermind for online business owners. I told them, I said, you guys all got to read this book. I mean, it's a phenomenal book. So if you haven't listened to it or read it, Audible, whatever, however you like to consume books, this is a great beginner business book. So if you're new to business, or even if you've been around for a while, I really recommend that you read this book immediately. And then you follow it up with probably my favorite business book of all time. Now, most of you guys, I'm going to be frank with you, most of you guys don't have the discipline to read this book. Look at that book right here, okay? Look at this. This is like 700 pages. And look at this in here. Look at this font. I mean, and there's, almost no pictures, okay? It's just font. Now, the crazy thing is, if you listen to this on Audible, it's like almost 40 hours long, okay? So it's a very, very long book. But this is called Titan, okay? And this is the biography, the life of John D. Rockefeller. If you don't know who John D. Rockefeller is, he is, the most successful entrepreneur to date. In today's terms, he'd be worth at least $400 billion. And he estimates up to $650 billion. So he started a company called Standard Oil, which turned into Chevron, BP, Shell, all these major companies that we know today. And just hearing about his life was interesting, but really where the key parts are is when he started in business and the way that he approached his business and how he was able to grow it so rapidly, so fast. And I mean, just some of the lessons I've learned in this book have been literally some of the most valuable business lessons I've ever learned, I mean, quite frankly. So I really, really recommend. I know it's, a little bit intimidating with the size of the book. Really do recommend that when you get a chance, read this book because it's made a tremendous impact on my life. And quite frankly, the richest person ever to live, I feel like he might have a couple things to say, especially since he was self-made. He wasn't a king or a queen or anything like that. He was a self-made guy. And yeah, so anyway, those are the 5 most profitable books I've ever read. So again, we've got Titan on the business side. We've got Your Next 5 Moves, business side. Blitzscaling, very much business side. And we've got 2 self-development books as well. So we've got Extreme Ownership, and we've got PsychoCybernetics. I recommend you start with this one if you haven't read this one yet. So I started with it first because, again, this book will change your life if you read it and apply it. I literally make everyone I work with read this book. It's that good. So that being said, hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, drop a like down below and comment, what is your favorite book? Have you read any of these 5? Have you not? I'm curious. I want to hear your thoughts. Hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell because, once per month we do that live stream where I give away some free courses. In fact, I just did it last weekend, so you missed out if you were not subscribed, you didn't hit the notification bell, but we will be doing one very soon in the next few weeks. You want to get notified when that happens so you can potentially win a free mini course. But that being said, I will see you on the next video.